Madrid, John Madden in Acapulco, Mexico. I was wanting to make a video, a somewhat complicated video, about a really important juncture in my time in Mexico. And there were too many distractions in the coffee shop. Just when I was starting to make it, Lupe started grinding coffee. So I fled there and went in search of a quiet place. Now, this is a quiet place with the exception that we've got a playground over there. The kids in Mexico seem to spend a lot of time not in their seats, and they're really encouraged to make noise and move around. And so we have the happy sounds of happy Mexican children, which I think is a good backdrop for this. So I'm content with that. I've been in Mexico 20 months, and I want to describe a huge juncture in terms of deciding whether I am lovable that happened in Mexico. 3 months into my time in Mexico, my car, which was a camper van, which was old and full of problems, broke down just outside of the 400-person pueblo of El Diamante, and spent 3 months there because the young kid, 28-year-old kid trying to repair it, who the family I got to know so well said was the best around, did not do a good job. And he didn't intentionally soak me for expensive repairs, but he hit me with 2 expensive repairs, which then totally went out the window when he decided he had to completely replace the engine. But the beauty part of spending 3 months there was I got to know the O'Reilly family, 3 nuclear families that ran the O'Reilly restaurant. And it was connected with a hotel, and they had a strong Wi-Fi, and they were lovely, wonderful people. And I spent 3 months every day with the folks around the restaurant there. A lot of things happened that were so good for me in those 3 months. My first 3 months in Mexico had been wildly chaotic. Culture shock, language shock. My Telcel plan, I've signed up for the Mexican Telcel, and the plan was always running out of minutes, so I never had data minutes and never had GPS working in big cities, Tampico, for example. Lost. So it was a wildly chaotic and wonderful and happy time. I was thrilled to be in Mexico, but it was a rough time. And then right before I showed up in El Diamante, I suffered the incredibly tragic loss of the best dog of my whole life, Magic, in ways that were so devastatingly traumatic that I still haven't told the story to a live person ever, only on video, and still weep about it. So I was a wreck. I was a wreck when I showed up on their doorstep in El Diamante, and the fabulous people of that family really took me in, really loved me, enjoyed my crazy sense of humor, helped me with my Spanish, because a couple of them spoke some English, but mostly I had to speak Spanish, and so my Spanish got a lot better. So the love of that family, they invited me to a quinceañera party, coming of age party for their daughter, Marely, who turned 16. And that was one of the best nights of my entire life. And they asked me, as their resident gringo, to prepare some words. Well, those words turned into a 15-minute videotape, which sure didn't get spoken in any way there, but got circulated among the family. I translated it into Spanish, and they loved it. I realized that I've been on the shelf romantically for a long time, mostly because of the desperately wrong diagnosis of bipolar disorder, which crushed me as a person and as a clinical psychologist, believing I was damaged goods and taking horrid drugs. That's a lot of what kept me on the shelf for a long time. We've got barking dog also. I guess that's appropriate too. When my dog Pancho, who was with me my first 2 years of travel, died very tragically in New Orleans, I really had to come face to face with a core part of how I felt unlovable in all ways. I was supposed to make my mom happy. She was unhappy, and I never succeeded. But I got good at trying, and I've always been a helper. Studied to be a priest, worked as a management consultant, a psychotherapist, always helper roles. And when I lost Pancho kept me sane during the COVID, and I was running the roads of Appalachia. Big life change to live in a camper van, spiritual changes. Taking care of that dog kept me from going into survival. And I knew that I adored her, and she became such an amazingly wonderful dog. But what helped me was I had this being to take care of. And when she died in New Orleans, what I had to face was, if I don't have a being to take care of and I'm on the road, I don't have friends around, I don't have a girlfriend. If I don't have someone I'm taking care of, what good am I? And I really went through that. I really had to look that square in the eye. Do I have any value if I'm not actively helping? And I went through that again with the loss of magic. Had to look at that again. I had to confront the fact that in Mexico, women are more flexible about age differences. They kept trying to set me up with the waitress there, 22-year-old Maritza, who was adorable. And in fact, we had quite the flirtation with each other. So I had to ask, is that conceivable? And we both really thought about it, I think. She finally visited an aunt in Jalapa who must have said, "You're crazy, girl. Drop that guy." So she came back and pretty much dropped me. Not as we remained friends, but the romance was over. Not having magic anymore, not having a dog, made me available. Always I had had a dog. All my travels, I had a dog who was my partner in crime. Shotgun. Neither Pancho nor Magic wanted to give up the shotgun seat. No, and I would introduce myself saying we. I always said we, and people assumed I had a partner. Well, I did. My dog was my partner, so suddenly I didn't have a dog partner. So that made me way. The last year in Mexico, year and a half now, I've not had a dog, and it has made me available for romance and various. I just made a tape about various romantic entanglements that have happened in Mexico because I am available in a way I never was before. The other factor was I became non-monogamous. I had been already making tapes about why non-monogamy is a better path for some people, and clearly for me. I became non-monogamous around dogs. I lost my primary, and immediately 3 fabulous street dogs adopted me when they found out I would touch them, which in that little pueblo, nobody would touch a dog. They adored me, I adored them. And in addition to Jason, Easy, I gave Easy the name Facile Easy because she came after me. I didn't have to approach her. And Mufasa. 3 dogs that just hung out, slept under my car, and we were inseparable. But also, when my camper van was parked over by the mechanic shop, 2 little wild and crazy 1-year-old pups that were inseparable. They were like one being. They ran together and wrestled together. And both of them were called Negro. They were both Chihuahua mix, and their dad called both of them Negro because they were black, and they just do that in Mexico. So he didn't care that they both had the same name. But they adopted me. I gave them the names Flash and Gordon. And Flash wanted to sleep in the car with me. Gordon didn't want to. One night, Gordon was crying all night because he was lonely without his brother. But I had like 5 dogs. And I found you do not have to have a primary partner dog because love is everywhere. There's dogs who need love everywhere. And there are people who need love and healing everywhere. So all those things came together to make me more available for love, which I am now. That was a lot. Let's see, I told Lupe back in the restaurant that I was going out for 5 minutes and my chilaquiles could be there already. And this would be the second day in 3 days that my food was ready and I wasn't there. and there will be hell to pay. Lupe's fabulous, but don't don't not be there when she's got your food for you. So bye. Back later. Bye.